This is just food for thought. It's not a Bible study I'm doing here right now, so bear with me. I was thinking to myself about this thing regarding free speech, freedom of speech, liberty to express yourself, that kind of stuff, right? And what got me thinking about this was I was watching a program that was, I consider, very anti-Semitic. I was watching it and I was thinking to myself, the people that were on this show, they were talking about how, oh, we have to be so careful because our videos could be taken down, you know, because the Jews control the world, they control the media, they have absolute sort of control over everything that governs freedom of speech, you know, freedom to express oneself. And so I'm thinking, right, here's a channel that is blatantly anti-Semitic and they're worried about being banned because of their content. And although they've got several videos out there that are very anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, which is almost incitement to hatred, basically. So then I'm thinking, there's so much literature out there in the world that is anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, particularly the Jews I'm talking about, in the Middle East, right? So I'm thinking, if the Jews really control the world's media and they have this tight grip, right, on freedom of expression, free speech, then I'm thinking they're not doing a very good job, are they? So this message is really to the Jews out there who control the world's media. You need to fire the man in charge because he's clearly not up to task, is he? He's not doing his job. Because there's plenty of anti-Jewish material out there on the internet. I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? All you've got to do is type it in and have a look and just listen. For a start, you've got... Because with that argument, if you just slow down, think about this. If the Jews control the world, they control the media. I'm just focusing on the media side of things, all right? You know, you can't say anything against the Zionist state, Israel, because your stuff is just shut down, you know, you're not allowed to. They just ban you, right? You know, it's like you're being muzzled like a horse, right? Then how comes there's so much of it out there right now? How comes there's so much anti-Jewish crap out there on the media if they're in control? That's telling me something. Because when I look at the other side of the coin, now okay, hold on, let's put it this way. If you look at criticism of Islam or criticism of Muhammad in particular, what do we expect? I know what you're thinking, and what you thought was right. You see, when the world attacks Israel or attacks the Jews, there's no response from the Jewish community at large. You don't hear of any fuss. You don't hear them openly sort of protesting in the streets. There's no violence from these guys. There's no aggression. They seem to not have that kind of zeal, as it were, when you compare the response and the outrage, if you like, from the Islamic world when there's any criticism of Islam or criticism of Muhammad in particular. Why is it that before you criticize Islam or before you say anything unfavorable regarding Muhammad, you got to look over your shoulder just in case? That's telling me something. So could it be that it's not in fact Jews that control the world's media, but Islam? People are intimidated when it comes to Islam. They're not intimidated when it comes to the Jews. They don't care about that. They don't care about openly criticizing Israel. They don't care about defaming the names of the Jews, right? No one really cares. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. But when you criticize Islam, Let's say, for example, ex-Muslims, right? I'm one, remember? Why is it that virtually every single ex-Muslim who left Islam, they've got to be very careful. They've got to think twice about speaking about their experiences, about exposing Islam, about sort of any sort of criticism regarding their former religion, Islam. They've got to be so careful about it because their lives are at stake. You're telling me criticising Israel and Jerusalem and the Jews on the Zionist state Israel comes at a price for your dear life? Are you joking? Are you kidding me? Look at the situation with Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson, hopefully I don't need to state the obvious. Look at what happened with him. What's going on there? Because he had the audacity, the courage to expose Muslim grooming gangs in Britain. Now, he's got the government on his back. He's got the press. It's ridiculous. People who are meant to be upholding the law and justice in that country are attacking the very one who's exposing something very sinister, I would say. He's exposing the fact that it's Muslim grooming gangs that are predominantly responsible for the child abuse, right? Grooming young girls into the sex trade, child abuse, sex abuse. He's having to fear for his life. He's been tarnished. People have got the wrong idea regarding him. Anyway, I don't know what you think about the Tommy Robinson situation. That's it's your own prerogative how you view that. But my goodness, you say anything about the Zionist state Israel, you're allowed to say it. You're absolutely allowed to say it. So if the Jews are controlling the media, they're not doing a good job, are they? In fact, the man who's in charge of it needs to be fired. It's ludicrous. Who's really controlling the world? Who really has that sort of power of intimidation that you've got to really think twice before you expose this? I'm telling you, it's not the Jews. I don't think they're careless. They're so used to being the scapegoat of the world for centuries now. They're so used to it. Anyway, it's food for thought, isn't it? It makes you wonder. Evil really does not want to be exposed. When you expose evil, it's like sort of poking a sleeping dragon, isn't it? You're poking a sleeping dragon, you're going to expect war. All right? You're going to expect war. And, yeah. There's consequences in exposing the real evil of this world. It comes at a price, So all these people out there with their true news and their, the truther community out there, especially within Christian circles, I'd like you to think about that, seriously. That you think that the Jews control the world and control the media. They're obviously not doing a good job, are they? It's ridiculous. Freedom of speech and protection, for example, the laws regarding anti-Semitism, they're there for a very good reason. There are some videos that have been taken down, no doubt. Think about this. As a government, you're responsible for the security and the protection of your people, of your citizens. If there's any material out there that is most likely to incite violence, disturb the rest of the peace of a nation, then they are within their rights to remove that content to preserve peace in their nations. You'll notice when you criticize Islam, you say anything derogatory, seemingly derogatory regarding Muhammad, it's almost like blinking World War III breaks out across the Middle East. You know what I'm talking about? The burning of effigies, the banners, the placards, the chants, death to America, death to Israel. Israel is always a scapegoat in all of this, isn't it? Something to think about, isn't it? Freedom of speech. I think it's really blown out of proportion. I think these people who are pulling down certain content from the internet, let's say YouTube, It's only because they're being careful it's not going to incite violence, because they're, as a nation, as a country, you know, they're well within their rights to make sure they're protecting the people, because some things can get out of control. Citizens of a nation can get really upset and they want to stop the possibility of vigilantism rising, all right? So I think that's what really is behind freedom of speech crackdown. And I think we've got to take it with a pinch of salt, you know. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you all. So, yeah, tell me what you think. I might be completely wrong on this, but my instincts are telling me if you go around and say anything about this particular thing, then you're likely to be in trouble. But if you say anything about this particular group, nothing really going to happen, is it? You can say whatever you want. Just like with how Jesus Christ, his name, look how it's mocked around the world, especially in the secular world. But do you see Christians protesting, going crazy, right? You know, they make fun of Abraham, Moses. It's always the biblical characters. But you never see the Jews up in arms about it. You never see them reacting in a aggressive manner, you know. So who's the real dragon controlling the media? I'd like you to think about that seriously, you know. Anyway, yeah, that was just a quick message. Thank you for your time.